So networking is a great thing to continue to do, even if you don't have to do it. A lot of times nonprofits, people are involved with nonprofits because corporations want to put their dollars behind nonprofits. They want people out in the community representing them in a positive light. So you will get to meet people with great, amazing connections in the corporate community too. So yes, as Steven's tried to steal my thunder just a little bit, my talk today is do it for free. Not maybe what you're thinking. It is about getting involved with nonprofits, either on your journey to or after FI. So I'm going to be asking you guys to do some things for free. We'll start off with a little quote from Mr. Money Mustache. He had a blog post a little earlier this year that said, "Freedom and money reveal a person's true strengths and weaknesses. The result is a spectrum with unlimited drugs and booze on the couch at one end, and create and manage a series of nonprofit foundations which employ thousands of people in research and invest in medical advances and clean energy at the other." So I would like y'all to consider being a little bit closer to the foundation side. You don't have to cure cancer yourself, but just consider doing a little bit more with your free time. A little bit about me. If you see up there, it's very small. This is my high school yearbook. It says most involved. And that's basically just who I am as a person. Cannot help myself. I learned about FI in 2019. I had $26,000 in debt, but I had a little bit of money in savings. This is my 6th CampFI since 2021. 4 in Florida, second one here. Most involved since at least 1999. And I like to party like it's 19. A little bit more. Day job is marketing and communications for economic development organization. I'm in sunny South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, which you all know now. I do some side hustling, real estate. I have my real estate license. My whole family's in real estate. I am part of the team with Stacking Benjamins, helping them with some marketing projects. And I have some Stacking Benjamins swag to give out, and so will Chris as well. I also do some freelance writing. I consider myself what I'm calling second wave FI. I'm going to trademark that right now, which is, I think that I'm more in the line with the die with zero school of thought versus an early retirement extreme. I like to live my life along the way. I've lost important people to me. And so I'm big on living your life, getting out, traveling, and having experiences and doing all those things. Okay. So as all of you know, you are not your job. You are more than just your title. Something that comes up for me quite a bit is I'll meet somebody in real life, and then I'll connect with them on whatever social media platform. And then they'll see me, and I'll be posting about various nonprofits that I'm involved in, all the different things that I'm interested in. And they'll be like, "What exactly do you do here? Like, what would you say, like Office Space, what would you say you do here?" All my different interests, I find, kind of keep them guessing, right? And so if you start to expand your horizons, you'll have more things. Getting involved with nonprofits and volunteering gives you an opportunity to reinvent herself. If Beyonce could do a country album, you can volunteer. There's a great interview, which I'll reference at the end of the presentation, a book called What the Happiest Retirees Know by Wes Moss. And he was interviewed on Stacking Benjamins. I have the episode number. So it's basically, he's saying that you should have at least 3, what he calls core pursuits in life. So, whether it's volunteering, traveling, your family, your church, all these different things. So multiple interests that you can have before you retire, that when you retire to them, you have a lot more enrichment in your life. And it can also counteract a potential loss of identity that might come with a change in job or retirement, if that's a big part of your core identity. And I'm suggesting that you be like Taylor Swift and step into your philanthropist era. Take your talents too, be like LeBron, your community, not South Beach. And it's not just for people who are at FI. You can start this now. I'm involved in a million different things, and I'm pretty far from FI. You guys are super, super, super smart, right? And you're good with money. Who needs that? Nonprofits. Okay, so you might be thinking, you busted your, this is a family-friendly thing. So you busted your ass to get to here, and I want you to work some more. So, okay, fine. You'll think about it. What's in it for you? So the thing here is, I've always wondered why you decided to be a dog. I was fooled by the job description. So first off, you can meet new people and make friends with similar interests to you based on the different nonprofits or pursuits that you might take up. This is also a big thing. Just because you guys don't need to network, we have people in here with children who are going to need connections. We have friends and family. So networking is a great thing to continue to do, even if you don't have to do it. Also, side note, a lot of times people are involved with nonprofits because corporations want to put their dollars behind nonprofits. They want people out in the community representing them in a positive light. So you will get to meet people with great, amazing connections in the corporate community too. There's a TED Talk by someone named Robin Fosse about building your social capital. Are you familiar with the concept of social capital? Got some head nods. So it's having those connections. Like if somebody in this room needed an attorney, we know we have at least one attorney in the room. And we know doctors, we have great networks because we're connected, but other people may not have that. So if you build your own social capital, you can then share that with others. Okay. So this is me at one of my favorite events to volunteer at. It is called Breakfast for Champions of the Homeless, and it benefits the Broward Partnership for the Homeless in Fort Lauderdale. And it's a fantastic organization. So we dress up in funny costumes and we serve breakfast to people, and all the money that we raise goes towards helping the shelter. Always a good time. You have an opportunity to change lives. Now, as I mentioned before, not everybody's curing cancer, and not every organization is the Partnership for the Homeless, but that's okay. There's nonprofits that run, a wide spectrum. And so there's a lot of different things you can get involved in based on your interests. Again, nonprofits, small or large, are small businesses essentially, and they really could use your help. And since you don't have to work for money anymore, you can do it. Okay. Also, they need help raising or making money or managing their money, and all y'all are great at that. Another cool thing that you get out of volunteering is that you get access to amazing things that you might not have been able to do. I was able to be at the commissioning of a naval ship in Fort Lauderdale, the USS Fort Lauderdale, because I assisted with a fundraising effort for that. And not everybody gets to go. Like, everybody in town was like, how do I get into this ship commissioning? It's like, well, you should have volunteered. Go Navy. Yeah, go Navy. So there's other opportunities. Like if you go to your local performing arts center, you can usher and essentially get to see all these Broadway shows and various performances for free. You get to hang out with a bunch of really cool older people. You could be a docent at a museum. So if there's something you have an interest in, you can learn all about the topic of the museum so much that you can actually give the tours. And working events, music festivals, there's all different types of festivals need help and volunteers. And then a lot of y'all have a lot of flexibility during the week. So you can go do these things when the nonprofits need the help. Sometimes they are working so hard. They are overworked and underpaid, right? So they could really use somebody to come in and help, maybe just do a shift at the front desk or something like that. You have the opportunity to learn something new. So this is with my friend Sandra, who used to run this Rebuilding Together. They help people who are aging in place in their homes. So elderly people who's maybe just different things happening with their homes. So I was painting. People go in and actually do carpentry. It's really fantastic. So that's something that I just wouldn't do on my own, but because I was volunteering, I did. learn skills. You have the opportunity to stay in touch with younger generations. I know Mark I don't know if it's volunteer or not, but you teach, right? A course. Yep. Oh, it is volunteer. So while you're doing that, you're relating to the younger generations and staying young that way. Maintaining your skills. So sometimes we just take career breaks in the FI community. You may want to go back later. And if you continue to be doing different things, maybe doing social media for a nonprofit, whatever, you're staying on top of trends. So if you do want to go back later, you can. Welcome to the name dropping portion of the presentation. I'm going to start with someone you may know, Joe Salsihai. I'm going to just share some stories of different people in the FI community, some that you may even know in this room, and what they do. So he raises funds for partnership with for the Pathway. They build trails around the Texarkana area. Emma, who didn't know she was in this presentation, as heard on Bigger Pockets Money, was talking about that she volunteers with an organization called Third Decade, which is financial literacy for young people. Amazing. This is Kate. She's a member of the Stacking Benjamins team. She cooks cakes for kids in the foster system. Right? This is my friend AJ. AJ has been volunteering before and after FI with her local library system and where she lives in Ohio. That's her at one of their field days. This is Lisa. You guys may know Lisa from the Cincinnati area, Kentucky area. Her book club did a special event for a women's recovery center. We all know Jillian. Hopefully a lot of people know Jillian. Jillian, in addition to being an actual saint, she is on the board of this orphan care organization called the Hope Effect. And we know Bob, also a guest on Mile High FI. He was talking about Coastal Volunteers in Medicine, which he's in New Jersey. And I was like, oh, I heard what he said on the podcast. And I was like, okay, Bob, like, what do you actually do? And he is essentially their unpaid IT guy. Like, how sweet is that? And that was his career before he retired. And Rachel, is Rachel in here? She's not in here in the moment. Well, Rachel's an overachiever. She has 2. So Rachel is currently doing this 14er challenge to raise money for Girls on the Run of the Rockies. And then the other thing, I wish she was here so I could give her crap about it, but she volunteers with this golden retriever rescue, and that's her with a puppy. And I feel like maybe she should have to pay to do that and not volunteer. So those are some great examples of what our peers are doing here in the FI community. Some tips. So if you're like, okay, I'm sold, let's do this, right? So things to know before you get involved with a nonprofit. This is a screenshot from Charity Navigator, which is a website that ranks the way nonprofit organizations actually use the money and the donations that they get. So I went and looked up a board that I sit on, Stranahan House. And I was happy to see that it's a 4-star charity with a 97% rating, which is excellent. It means that they're not wasting the money, that not a lot's going to overhead. It's actually going to the operation of the nonprofit. So your involvement can run along a very wide spectrum, which I'll get into in a minute. You decide just how much or how little you want to get involved. And you can vet nonprofits a couple different ways. Obviously word of mouth if it's a local organization, or if you have friends or family who are already involved with one, you might want to get involved with the same one. There's Charity Navigator that I referenced there. And then the IRS Form 990, you can Google it. All nonprofits have to file a 990. And you can see like how much the CEO gets paid, how much some of the top employees get paid. You see a lot of information on there. You can see who sits on their board of directors. So the spectrum, right? You can do something as simple as attend an event that's supporting the nonprofit, like a 5K, a fundraiser, etc. A one-off donation, just write a check. Maybe a kid's selling something for their team or whatever. One-off volunteering, you go and you do a done-in-a-day service project. Regular volunteering, so recurring activity where you go on a regular basis. joining a committee for the nonprofit, because a lot of times they have committees that support their various activities. It could be finance. It could be, there's a lot of different things. It could be a committee planning an event. Chairing the committee or the event is the next step up. And then from there, regular, more significant giving, perhaps if an organization has a capital campaign where they're trying to maybe build a new structure, or they're just trying to maybe endow their budget or whatever they're trying to do, where they're trying to raise a lot of money, then you can make a commitment to donate that way. And then finally, sitting on a board of directors. Okay, some more. So before you do it, know what you want to accomplish out of this. Are you trying to make friends? Do you just want to make a difference in this particular nonprofit? Do you want to learn something? Now, for a lot of us in the FI community, again, we travel a lot. Some people are not in one place all throughout the year. So is it something that you can do? Do you have to be hands-on, or is it something that you can do from afar? Like third decade, Emma, is that remote? Yeah, because Bob mentioned that he was going to do it too.
Yes, he did.
So you guys are.
Senator Robinson.
Aw.
They're totally accepting volunteer.
All right. Talk to Emma. How much time can you or do you want to give? How much of your own money are you willing to give? And could you bring other resources to the table? Like, do you have other knowledge? Do you have a great network, etc.? Expertise in various areas like accounting, marketing, finance, your connections. And then how long of a commitment are you stepping into? I always like to know this before I get involved in anything, because I don't necessarily want to sit on I've been on some boards for many years. I want to know that there's a start time and an end time. And also, I didn't mention this, but part of my job at the Economic Development Organization is managing the operations for our board of directors. So I know a good amount about that. And so I like also for there to be transition, because you keep getting fresh blood into the organization. Okay, some basics on sitting on a board if you do want to do that. You're going to start small, get to know people who are already involved, interview the nonprofit. You are choosing to do this work, so you do not have to do it. You need to make sure that it's a good match for you. Talk to someone who's already on the board or staff members. Make sure that you like the culture. Also, really important, find out what the organization actually needs, right? So you might be great at one thing, but what they really just need is somebody to raise money or whatever need they might have. So if you have expectations of doing one thing, but you come in and they really need something else, it's not a good fit. And so just don't waste your time or the nonprofits. And same thing, if it's not a good fit for you, it's totally okay to move on. There's plenty of other organizations to get involved. There's plenty of other people. So it's totally fine. A little bit more about serving on a board of directors. Oftentimes they come with what's called a give-get. And please pay attention to this, Chris. He has his own foundation. So by signing up to be on the board, you commit to either giving, writing a check, or swiping your credit card for a certain amount per year, or getting that amount for the nonprofit. So that could mean that you have friends at XYZ Corporation and you get them to write a check to the organization every year. Or maybe you sell 10 tickets to the big fundraiser, or you get a bunch of auction items donated that then they can auction off at an event. So be really clear on that and what the nonprofit expects out of you. Find out all of the requirements, not just the monetary stuff. So some boards that I'm on, they require you to be physically at the board meeting, a certain number of meetings in person. They may also offer a call-in or a Zoom option, but they don't want you to be at all of them by Zoom. So if you're not physically in the area, you need to clear that with the nonprofit in advance. Again, just making sure that you're doing your part and are being good to the nonprofit and vice versa. When you do sit on a board, especially as an officer, you have a fiduciary responsibility. That means that if the organization's not running right, ultimately you're kind of on the hook for it. And you, as the board, are the boss of the executive director. So the executive director runs the organization, is the leader of all of the staff, but all the board members are the boss of the executive director. That's a big deal. If you're going to sit on a board, I suggest that you learn basic parliamentary procedure. You can Google Robert's Rules of Order. And that's like when you're in a meeting and you're saying, I move to do this or that. Hopefully, maybe some of you know. I'm happy to chat about that. It's if you want to really nerd out on that. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. Here are some resources that I mentioned. If you guys want to snap a picture of that. Looks like okay. And to end with this, I'd like to end with this quote by Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you.